And welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings Here, not in Mendham and such. Anyway, comments, I think. Yeah, okay. You do have to talk to the people that exist. I mean, I would like to be able to just talk to rational people and just say rational things about how, well, it's evolution and we're machines, robots are basically just programmed by the environment we're farted into. And we just go through this pretense of trying to catch, just trying to catch our little happiness thing. Based on crude, stupid underlying programming that has this definition of I'm a success, I won. It's just finding a fight and winning it. Finding a game to play. Somebody's playing basketball over there, or baseball and soccer, or you just say, what am I in the mood for today? And then so you pick a fight and you have a contest and you do your little victory crap, antics, and go to bed, do the same thing again. So yeah, if I was having a rational conversation with rational beings, we would just lament over the ludicrous circumstance of having all this intellectual capacity to, do all this figuring, all these to all these skills we have to learn, how to play basketball and this, how to engineer a building or drive a train or whatever the fuck we're supposed to be doing. And this is what it comes down to. It's just a stupid machine playing in some sort of, it's like, you could imagine like Coke machines that had ego problems, they compete with each other, who's just more stylish, who's more this, who's got more that, who's got a bigger, service tray. I mean, just fuck. Anyway, it's just pitiful. So in that context, I'll talk to these other vending machines with their particular little bullshit that's in their little fucking bullshit brains and try to explain how they're just talking shit. Why are you typing bullshit? You idiots. Why don't you just admit you're an idiot and shut the fuck up? Get out of the way. Quit making noise. You're not useful. Alright, so Chris, whatever that is, Dragata, okay, anyway, incomprehensible icon, great, you're really winning. Anyway, you do realize men with money never are anti-natalists, right? So I love that, that whole phrasing, the, whatever you call that, the redundant, no, the, not redundant. There's a word for that when you're asking a question, but you're not really asking the question. The sarcasm built in. Rhetorical. Yeah, but have you thought about it at all? I mean, how many rich men with kids regret having kids? A wife and kids, even. How many rich men would have been? How many poor men would have been rich men if it wasn't for wife and kids? Zillions, right? Like all of them. Would have been a lot richer. So, silly argument. And then you just have to go, what are you talking about, rich people, right? Rich people are either inherited or, they're celebrities. They're idiots. They're morons. Who cares what they think? Fuck you, you're an idiot and a moron. There's a tiny percentage of rich people actually did something worthy of some notice. And most of the things they did were silly, like pet rock or Rubik's Cube or some kind of crap that doesn't mean anything. The people who really invented great stuff, they don't get anything but a salary from their company, okay? They don't get anything. So you're just an idiot. Fuck you. Yeah, I don't think you thought about what you're saying. You just say this shit like it's supposed to mean something. We know lots of people have stupid notions in their head that prevent them from being realists. Okay, I mean, most of the world is covered with religious kooks, idiot. Do you think I don't know that too? Well, godfathers aren't anti-natalist. Oh, duh. Jesus. Just Fuck you. It's just too stupid. Alright, next next in line to be called too stupid. Holly Observavavan. Stupid ass icon. Ooh, Photoshop is fun. Fuck you. Anyway, nihilists don't have to not care about anything, but merely to acknowledge that there is no reason that they should care about anything. It's just idiotic right on its face. You have this capacity, this sensation thing. It's a real thing. It's actually happening to the conscious beings. I mean, unless you want to tell me you're not conscious. Fine. You're a step lower form of life or something. Fine. You want to admit your brain doesn't function. Fine. But the rest of us have this sensation thing happening in there. It's a clear difference between the old, cupcake and nail in your eye. I mean, just such a clear difference. It couldn't be a louder difference in your reality. There really isn't a louder difference than the difference between torture and fun. And why are you not acknowledging that difference? So you're just saying there's no reason to acknowledge that difference. It's a fake difference somehow. Yeah, I experience it, but no, it's fake. It didn't really happen. I mean, it's just so fucking retarded. I mean, how can you stand like you're saying something enlightened or smart when you're not even being, in any sense practically reasonable? To deny the existence of something you actually experience, it's just so fucking stupid. Oh, consciousness doesn't mean anything. It doesn't really exist. It doesn't really happen. Yeah, it does all of those things. It really happens, you idiot. I mean, fuck. It's just so fucking stupid. So if the aliens showed up and, they're sharpening their knife and fork, and they're saying, well, we're going to just eat you alive. We're not going to give you an anesthetic or anything. We're just going to cut pieces off of you, piece by piece, while you're screaming and the blood's oozing out, and we're going to eat you alive. You would have no reasoning you could apply to them, no argument to explain why, well, look, if you have to kill me, please, do it gracefully, kindly. And, frankly, I'd rather not be bothered. I'd rather you gave me a cupcake and sticking nails in my eye. That sucks. So you wouldn't have a reasonable argument. You don't think there's any reasoning you could come up with, any logic to explain that it's not a good idea to hurt things that feel. You can't do that, Holly. You're too fucking stupid. You just sit there and say, yeah, go ahead. There's absolutely no good reason for you not to torture me. You're that fucking stupid. How do these people get to my videos? It's just so depressing. I mean, what'd you come here for? Just to be stupid on my video? Damn. Alright. This is gold. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like very old gold. So I wouldn't trust it. I'd get it assayed or something, whatever the word is. Yeah, get it assayed. Triggered in dogs incoming. I don't know what the fuck that means. God, people in their goddamn fucking jargon. Eesh. Hip neo-Nazi. So I'm a neo-Nazi. Why? Well, yeah, what's the reason? I don't know. I don't get you. I mean, what exactly have I said that's Nazi-esque? I mean, clearly you could say, okay, like a Nazi, because why? I don't think I should have to just sit here and say, okay, America isn't going to speak English anymore. Fuck that. Fuck English. And fuck mufflers. Fuck a whole bunch of stuff that I think are sort of important things. I'm a Nazi. Oh, fuck you, I'm not a Nazi. But whatever. I'd like to put you in a concentration camp, though. I have to admit, concentration camps are a great idea. We should have some. Lots of people need to be in one. Fuck you. Whatever that even refers to. It's just such a uselessly vague comment. Alright. What's my name? So Sodomite Killer. That's your screen name. You really think that's some sort of reasonable thing? You have to sit there and worry about other people's sexual habits. that's somehow important to you. It impinges on you in some hard way that other people have a lifestyle, usually behind walls, and that bothers you somehow. And you have to do it in capital letters. And then you put little shit things, like you're not a shit stain. Like you're not even a step lower. You can't even manage to be a real shit. You're just the stain. Ugh, God, these people are just so pathetically stupid. Alright, maybe Westworld is coming. Oh, this is the same douche with the other dumbass comment, the first dumb comment. So what could that possibly mean? There is still death. Westworld is still an adventure, right? I mean, you're in the game, right? So you're fighting for the victory kind of thing, right? So, I mean, Westworld isn't very much different than the real world. You have to concede, I didn't see the new Westworld, but in the old Westworld, it seems like the robot must be motivated by some sort of anger or feeling or emotion. He seemed kind of emotional. Like he wasn't doing this because I must go out and sanitize or something. He didn't have some kind of principle like 2 + 2 = 4. He had some kind of, I'm mad. I'm going to get even or something. There was some sort of, human-y kind of thing happening. So yeah, what's the difference? What's the fucking difference? You could even argue that the Stepford wife thing is just all these synthetic things are just another example of it. It's really just about you can create any environment. So you just birth a kid into an environment, throw a couple of adventures into his little childhood in terms of things that happen. Good things, bad things, and there you've created a different kind of robot. A homicidal killer or an obedient, service bot. Yeah, I don't know what the point is, but yeah, fuck you, stupid comment. Alright, 1 year late but well said. Fuck that, whatever that means. So that's a long time ago. 5/18, it's more than a year ago, I think. It's like 2 years ago or whatever. It's a while ago. But anyway, you ought to just read stuff like labels. Yes, it probably would be. You can complain about anything and everything, and labels are usually full of lies and crap, and so yes, I probably should. But anyway, I mean, reading this is, it's pretty. Look at this, whatever this is. Steve Kyoko. Nowadays, these people would curse and spewing unfunny, horny stuff like. I'm not even going to try to read that crap. But what are you talking about? What is your problem? Does anybody force you to watch these videos? No. There's no "you're forced to watch" button. You crazy person. Oh, shit. Intelligence is just a tool. So this is a Chris douchebag again. You're just full of idiotic and retarded cliches, huh? I mean, you can't think in terms of anything you're original, right? So anyway, obviously I've pointed out it's a tool from evolution's point of view. That's all it exists to do, is to, just like our eyeballs or our ears, it's a tool that allows for the more complex behavior. But clearly the side benefit, the emergent function, is the fact that we can observe reality, that we can understand it, that we can see the difference between the truth and nonsense. That's part of the function, basically. I mean, it's the whole design is basically to give us, through interaction with an environment, an ability for the environment to tell us what the truth is. But clearly, our intelligence can step out of all of that. We can step beyond our programming. We can step beyond our bigotries, our subjective attachments. And we can see Santa Claus for what it is, and we can see all these different things and say that's horseshit. That piece of culture is crap. That icon is nonsense. We can do all that. That's what intelligence gives us the capacity to do. Now, that doesn't have an evolutionary function. It doesn't. It's not necessarily good for your survival or your genetic code getting, taking over the world. Yeah, no, it's not going to be good for any of that stuff. To use the tool for its best purpose, you could argue, which is finding the truth, knowing the truth, being obedient to the logic that exists in the truth. Yeah, you're not going to get rewarded for that, but that's part of being intelligent, is understanding it's not about whether you get rewarded or not. It's about right and wrong. It's about correct and incorrect. It's about doing logic the right way. That is, letting the facts tell the story, not your personal perversion of them. So again, it's not just a tool. It's stupid to say it. Because we know better. We can know better. Fuck you again. God, I don't like you much. Alright, I don't know what this... the Papa 29A. I'm so glad somebody's finally saying it openly. Well, whatever I said. You're welcome. Love this guy. I like him, too. Yeah. Favorite YouTuber. But anyway, so some kind of foreign crap. Little foreign crappies over the letters and shit. Yeah, he made he made a man with nipples, and Adam have said this is flesh of my flesh, and Eve and his flesh. Well, anyway, yeah, did God have nipples? Yeah, both of them had nipples. Of course, that is not apologetics, but your argument can be easily refuted. How exactly? I mean, if men came first, I'm just saying, logically, you're going to say, well, why would I make the man with nipples? It's kind of obvious, right? Unless I already have in mind woman, right? Unless I'm already planning for the bigger invention. You know? So it just seems like maybe they got the story the wrong way. Got the order backwards. But whatever, who cares? I mean, obviously religion is stupid. To think that anything rational would create a system like this, you know, if you really believe that people get horrible cancer and die for over a 20-year period and tortured, or people have chronic pain, you really believe they're horrible sinners and they deserve it. You really think that? You're fucking too stupid for fucking goddamn existence. You belong in the concentration camp, frankly. You're a fucking lunatic. A dangerous lunatic. Alright, Lord of the Pies, also an asshole, from what I remember. I think you need to take bugs off your list of horror. You think so. Fuck you. You can't even capitalize the first sentence in a paragraph. There were studies done that demonstrate quite clearly that bugs are not functioning at a high enough level to suffer. What studies? What cite them then, fuckhead? You got nothing. Ugh, what a douche. You have nothing, okay? There's absolute... Well, how exactly did they do this test? You can only do it through logical deduction and understand that what purpose does a sensation have but as a learning tool? That's all it is. It's reward and punishment. Now, how do you reward and punish something if it can't learn, right? And the truth is, bugs learn. They can be taught that going right will get you food and going left won't. They can be taught these things. So it kind of demonstrates that if you can learn, then you probably have some mechanism that rewards and punishes you to indicate good learning and bad learning. Dumb fuck. I would posit the most... Who cares what you would posit? You know, who the fuck are you? Some asshole has to make fun of some statement. Lord of Pies. Lord of the Pies. Well, what is that? You're a humorist? Anyway, I would posit that most life on this planet is not capable of suffering when you stop to actually think about it. No, I think when you actually think about it, you'd have to concede that all the mammals are actively feeling. I mean, there's just no denying it. But go ahead, be a science denier, and that's all you're doing, with your little chimpanzee joke and your little stupid name. Oh, fuck you. Alright, let's see what somebody said. And how exactly do you define suffering? Are you referring to to single-celled organisms? No, he's clearly, since people aren't even, they can't eat, they're so clueless, they can't, he referred to insects, clearly. But he's sitting, he just generalized the statement to say, most of the stuff that's alive isn't doing anything smart like me. You know, he thinks he's special. No, most life on this planet is incapable of suffering. Well, what does life mean? So now he says it with just the word life. Yes, most of the life on this planet doesn't suffer. Most of the life on this planet is bacteria, you stupid fuck. Suffering requires a higher functioning brain. Well, it certainly requires a brain. How much it has to function is the issue. Now, you think suffering is some sort of advanced intellectual capacity, when no, reward and punishment is a rudimentary function, and it's completely necessary to any learning process. So nothing can freely learn, okay, unless you have some mechanism that tells the organism whether he won or lost, whether he did good or he did bad, okay? And so that's what it all exists for, idiot. That's why it exists. It exists so when somebody gets a scab on their face, they don't rip a gigantic hole in their goddamn face. It's there for really important reasons. And to say, oh, all those other dumb organisms don't need a mechanism to stop them from, you know, tearing their antennas off and doing all kinds of wacky shit. Oh, I think they do need a mechanism to stop them from doing that. God, it's essentially, without suffering, without the capacity to feel good and bad, is essentially like leprosy. Okay, I'm not saying lepers still were emotionally fucked up, but I'm just saying the whole problem with leprosy is that you'd have an injury and it really doesn't feel that, you know, bad, and so you would pick at it, you know, it'd be a little itchy and you'd scratch your fucking face off. So I mean, how would that be functional? Oh, it wouldn't be. So it's kind of essential, you know, to have some sort of simple mechanism. It's kind of a simple mechanism. It works for everything. You can use this, you know, this mechanism of feeling bad to control lots of different behaviors in lots of different circumstances. God, you're just such a fucking dumbass. Alright, anyway, most of the biomass on the planet, plants, insects, well, again, so you're saying a plant and an insect are somehow similar. Clearly the insects have brains, they have neurology, they have all of that stuff. And you're just pretending, I don't have to account for that existing. I don't have to account for what it's doing, what its function is. So anyway, none of which is capable of suffering. So again, you say so. Lord of Pie fuckhead. This makes dogmatic declarations because you talk to God or something. So where did you get this source of knowledge, you stupid shit? Alright, to define life as suffering is hyperbolic nonsense. Yes, to define anything as, you know, a bunch of cellular organisms, but when people are usually using life in this context, you know, they're not talking about, you know, fucking microbes, idiot. Clearly the conversation has a context of organisms with neurology. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, if not billions of neurons. God, you're just such a piece of shit. Alright. Tween Two, who, you know, it's nice that he's typing some stuff and he's getting back interested and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, he's just all caught up in his own, you know, whirlpool, and you know it's easy to do. You know, I can't say that, you know, I haven't done some self-indulgent emotional videos you know, but it's kind of a tiny percentage. I think it is anyway. I often find myself too caught up in the negative in my life and brain to have the ability to give any concern or to delve into any somewhat complex subjects, often diluted with tripe, as demonstrated by this video. I don't know what that means. And who inmendham was arguing with. Yes, well, it's a real challenge sometimes. You think I like this, you don't think I always have the mood to do this? I mean, obviously some days I don't. You know, it's just, oh, I'll just read comments and pretend I did a video. You know. But at least I'm pretending. At least I'm making the effort. Okay, I show up and I try to say something useful and constructive. Yeah, but there's lots of times I don't wanna. But anyway, I think I may wish I could, but I can never see it being something I can actively wrap my head around consistently. Well, frankly, if you just do it, then you do it. You know what I mean? It's, you know, and you of all people should be saying this, because it seems like when you did make videos, they were sort of autopilot. I mean, you just found a path to walk and you walked it. And you didn't seem all that distracted by your personal circumstances. But anyway, whatever. This sounds like excuse making, but whatever. At least to some degree, as far as I can think now. I have to abort software, recalibrate settings, clear mind space. Yes, rebooting is really great if you can do it. Good luck with that. It really takes reconditioning. You know what you have to do is, like, you have to make a little table with a cup of tea and you have to pretend to have a good time, you know, as best you can. You have to try to fool yourself into thinking everything's swell, everything's great. So you can get your brain, your physiology has to think everything's okay. So you have to find mechanisms, even though you're having a horrible time and everything sucks. You have to fool your physiology into thinking everything's just swell. So then it can recondition to what it needs to react to. So you got to give it something new to be bad, you know. So just find some color to hate, and let all your negative conditioning focus on that color, because it's irrelevant to your personal life, you know. So you can keep your psychology focused on stuff that doesn't matter, and so you can manage to get through the stuff you have to do that you hate doing, but it's doable as long as your psychology isn't telling you, oh, I'm doomed, oh, this is going to suck. If you can get out of that this is going to suck mode, you'll be okay. Because it might suck, but the point is, if you don't know it might suck, you're a lot better off. And especially if your physiology, your hormones and your, you know, the chemistry, as long as that doesn't know it's going to suck, you're a lot better off. But it's hard to do. I have failed dismally at trying to reprogram my psychology. I'm as disabled as I've ever been. And it's just so damn fucking annoying. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. At least to some degree, as far as I can think now. I have to, okay, we have a clear mind space and enhanced memory to do as such, because I am so often brought down to encumbered stupefaction, which seems to stupefy me to a marginal state of capable thinking. Again, I'm just saying this is all kind of crap. You're able to type all this shit, so you're clearly able to do analysis and you know, and A, B, C, D, you know, put stuff in the right order, use stupefaction words and shit. Seems like, you know, you're just saying I don't wanna, and yeah, I don't wanna either, but too bad. I know I'm very well equipped and capable of learning and understanding with immense speed and reverence, I think that's what it said. I just can't seem to click with concern to subjects with the same intrigue as others can. Well, I don't know what subjects you're, you know, you're worried about your how compelling they are. I mean, I don't know if with meaning of life. Well, that's not terribly, and that's not a very interesting subject. All right, whatever. Saying cells. Okay, so this is Cato, the dumb fucking ass, usually. Anyway, saying cells obtain the ability to split after being torn in half with a rock sounds like a fallacy. That, whatever. Got long giraffes. Giraffes got long necks by stretching to reach leaves on trees. So let's understand. I didn't say it was part of evolution. What I said is that it's just a simple observation that you could understand that before there was this whole mechanism to split nuclei in half and separate the chromosomes, going through all these procedures to make the DNA molecule to allow it to do its thing, which is basically break and redo the other side of the molecule. That the first mechanism wasn't some nice little zipper chemistry and all that kind of stuff. The first mechanism was probably the DNA molecule had to be smashed into something. Something had to break it and to remake it. And so that's all I suggested, idiot. Okay, is that the part that gave it the ability to reproduce, which is essential, right? To evolution happening, you have to have a mechanism. You don't get that part? Well, that's the part that has to happen. There has to be some kind of energy, some sort of thing has to happen to create the circumstance. And so I'm just saying the most obvious way to create a circumstance where we see it with water bubbles and different things. You can break the bubble and it makes two bubbles. So the mechanism for, creating an evolution where this bubble breaks and then the bubble could grow and then it breaks and then it grows and it breaks. That mechanism probably was the predecessor to the chromosomes orchestrating the event in the more complex way. That was probably the simple version of evolution. The molecule did its early evolving through some mechanical process from the outside, not from the inside. That's the argument, fuckhead. How would the ability to divide become encoded in the DNA? It doesn't have to be. That's the whole argument, you idiot. The DNA is doing lots of different things. Lots of different things are being controlled by it. And I'm just arguing that one of the things it didn't have to control in the early stages of evolution was the division process. Asshole. That's all I'm suggesting. Asshole. Okay. Let's see, become encoded in the DNA after some event like being torn in half by some happenstance. So again, all of the stuff that is encoded on the DNA does the replicating thing just has to do with the function of the molecule. It just has to do with this fact that you break the molecule in half and it's basically created opposite magnets, so exactly the same thing will arrange on the two broken ends. So it'll recreate the molecule again just from crap in the environment. That's the fundamental argument about how DNA works, is that it recombines back into the helix breaks and it recombines back into a helix. That's its function. Such a fucking idiot. It doesn't. Well, it does. Further, how does DNA divide and replicate on its own without proteins? That's, again, one of the functions it has, is the argument I'm making. When the first DNA got into a cell, one of the functions it started doing was making the environment inside the membrane, the water drop, conducive to the very fact of what it needs to reproduce. So that would be part of its evolution, that it would be very constructive for it to prearrange that when the thing broke in half, there would be lots of the extra pieces in the environment. Dumbass. So that has to do with the fact that it would first be making chemicals that would create the membrane of the water droplet, that would create chemicals that stick to the surface of the water droplet, that help filter stuff that comes in. So that one of the first functions you could logically deduce would be the DNA molecule needs the water droplet to be a filter. So lots of big molecules can get in, but lots of these little stupid ones can't, and all that kind of stuff. See, fuck you. There's nothing illogical about what I'm stating. It's not some stupid dogma. It's a reasonable fucking speculation, you shithead. If you have a great counter argument, fine, but you don't. It is a chicken and egg problem. Well, we know that the chicken and egg problem isn't really a problem, right? Because, you know, the first mutation has to be a byproduct of the female's egg. So you have to break the egg or break the sperm to create the mutant. So we know the egg is the first mutant. As much as I would like to believe in abiogenesis, is really no different than a religion at this point. Well, that's just absolutely silly. How exactly is it a religion? Where's the dogmatic statements? It's a perfectly reasonable speculation. We know how it evolves from you know, green slime. We certainly know how it evolves from, say, walking catfish. You know, we can see the process, and yes, the chemical process is the one that's, you know, a little more difficult, but we're splicing genes, we're taking hunks out, we're annihilating genes. I mean, so it's all within the realm of understandable in terms of filling in the missing pieces. But oh, you think it's just way too weak an argument. Well, no, I think it's plenty strong to defeat any of the competitor. The competing theories are insanely stupid. Fucking religious kooks. Alright, Fireball. Ephilism wiki page. Oh, okay, so it's just a highlight of the video. Thank you. It's nice to have somebody index the video a little bit. We became moral when we are unhappy. We become moral when we are unhappy. I don't even know. Is unhappy a rational word? I'm just sorry. I just don't think that's exactly how it happens. I mean, there was no unhappiness that drew me to the first humiliating observations that I was a selfish cunt. So, you know, when I was like 11 years old and I started thinking about my relationships to other people, and I turned it around just for a minute and said, well, what am I doing for them, and why are they liking me, or why are they this, or why are they that? And then I started thinking, well, why the fuck am I their friend? And I started seeing, oh yeah, this might have some advantage to me, or, you know, some kind of, you know, and I was starting to see how, oh, I'm trying to manipulate people. You know, I buy them, you know, nice Christmas present or something. I think I undid all my sins for the year. You know, it's like the cheating husband showing up with the flowers. I'm saying, oh yeah, I'm just trying to manipulate people. God, I suck. You know, I don't think I had to be unhappy, you know, to just start doing a little thinking about life and what the hell I'm doing here. Now, clearly, if you're so distracted by, you know, there's just so many people sucking on your nipples and everything is just so wonderful and you're just so comfortable, you know, maybe you don't do any kind of elaborate thinking, but you're just going, oh yeah, touch me there, touch me there. You know, maybe you're just so lost in your little bliss, okay, that you can't do any thinking. But it's just thinking. I mean, it's not, you know, moral thinking isn't all that sophisticated and complex. Asshole. God, you people are just such shits. You're always trying to make excuses for shit, scapegoat shit. You just can't stay on a subject. Alright. Pyro just can't stand that you're light years better than him. Well, that doesn't, you know, really doesn't make much sense. I mean, you're light years ahead of him. That might make sense if you said it that way. Yes, I'm light years ahead of him. Yes, he's just grinding in a my silly ambitions are important trap or something. You know, I have to defend my stupid existence, all the stupid decisions I made that were really stupid, selfish and dumb, and I have to make those somehow gloriously intelligent when they were stupid and dumb. Alright, it really irks him to the core. I don't think anything irks him to the core, frankly, so I don't think he's very irkable. He sort of has demonstrated it to me, overtly, in the sense that you couldn't fail more dismally than he has failed in certain aspects of his existence. He's just had the most colossal kind of failure you could have, and he's gained no humility in the process. I just none. I mean, he's a drunk driver for life. He just will not gain any insight from the burning wreckage behind him. Just nothing. He's impervious to it. He's impervious to a life lesson. Alright. He's just living in his little childhood fantasy. His father told him he's a shapeshifter or something, and he's just, yeah, he thinks he's master of the universe. Anyway, so Chris the douchebag again. Build a platform. If you are on cement, get a dehumidifier. Yo, fuck you. See, just more crap. You know, people, you can't complain about anything because they just come up with some dumbass reason why you should just accept. Don't complain. Complaining is stupid. You know, get a dehumidifier. Fuck you. I think I'll do better than that. Thank you. I'll try to do better than that. Keep an eye out for a better place. Well, gee, isn't that? That's just super advice, so I never would have thought of that. Oh, gee, you don't like where you are? Maybe you should look for a better place. It's just so easy, right? You just pull the money out of your pocket and go to a new place. It's just, yeah, no problem at all. Some suckers on this street, it's just incredible. I mean, they bought a plastic piece of shit remade house for an insane amount of money. Just insane. You know, like 40% above the average nice house. And you're just like, oh God, you could just put any number on the house and just wait because some asshole will show up and pay it. Amazing. Anyway, ventilation and a VUC monitor. Again, you know, what? Fuck you people. You know, do you think most people who are complaining want putridly stupid solutions? It's like having your leg cut off. Well, put some green stamps on it. What the fuck? It's not gonna solve anything, you stupid fuck. Good morning, Gary. Whatever. Yeah, sure. I do that. Oh, this Chris asshole again. Why is this asshole posting all these comments when he's an asshole? It's not just going to get you the Nobel Prize without math and experiments. So what? Again, I could point out the trivial, you know, substance that was in a lot of Einstein's papers, and you know, the irony of what he got the prize for, you know, in the sense it's not even the ideas he's known for, but anyway, it's just stupid. You're either right or wrong. Okay, so if you're having a conversation about two things, I mean, obviously the experiments are ambiguous. That's why people are making up multiverses. You don't start making up multiverses unless the experiments are pretty fucking uninsightful, idiot. I mean, the experiments, you got to be pretty bad if the best they could do is, well, maybe it's dark matter, like it's special matter that doesn't really matter, and you know, like Invisible Man matter. I mean, they're so fucking preposterous. So obviously, yeah, it'd be really nice if the experiments were more explicit. And I've already pointed out some that can be done anyway, but whatever. I'm not going to argue that here. But fuck you. Right? It's either the right answer or the wrong answer. This rhetoric means absolutely nothing. You're not countering it with some kind of argument pointing out how, well, it's fundamentally flawed because of this. You're not saying anything. If I assert that there's absolutely zero evidence on Earth that electrons and protons aren't the magnetic monopoles, that if you were to describe what a magnetic monopole would look like, guess what? It's going to look exactly like an electron and a proton. Go ahead and try it yourself, asshole. They say there's no such thing. I say every single piece of evidence indicates, every piece of logic and reasoning and evidence points to the fact that electrons and protons are the perfect description of magnetic monopoles. If you could put an electron here and a proton here, like a magnet, okay, it would be just like a magnet. It would behave just like a magnet. If you put another electron over here, or another electron and proton over here, they would behave just like magnets behave. Exactly like a magnet would behave. No difference whatsoever. Just exactly like magnets. They say that isn't possible. That doesn't happen. That's not real. When it's overtly real. They'll even admit that everything I just said about electrons and protons, yes, you're correct. They would behave exactly like magnets. But they're not the magnetic monopoles. Because the dogmatic Maxwell, God Maxwell says so. And we can't say otherwise because God Maxwell says so. Even though Maxwell didn't know what an electron and a proton are, he knew in advance that there isn't any such thing as an electron and proton. Oh, fuck you, you're an asshole. I should just block him. Should. should. But I'll wait till later. Alright, so there's an Ephilism wiki page, so I already did that. Yeah, I already did that. So these are, yeah, so we're over a week, so not a single good comment on the newest, most recent video. Just all crap. Oh, here he is again, this douchebag, all these comments. The teller of the truth gets thrown out of 7 villages. You know, so yeah, it's one of his cliches. We already read that. How can they rape intelligence like that? Well, gee, I just love people, you know, who take the whatever that is. What is that? You know, this whole idea that they own me so much that they can call me G. Yeah. No, fuckhead. I'll call you fuck head, mister. They can't let themselves become demotivated to play the game to the point that their wives and children starve. Does that make sense? No, fuck you. You never make sense. Alright, so I'm not gonna, we already did some of this, right? Money has been debt for a few hundred years. So again, this is just more nonsense, you know. Money was, you know, all these people that have this notion, again, money is just about how much of it you make. It's like any other, it's just pretending to be a commodity. And the government makes it a commodity by making it as good as gold, right? Now, it's not as good as gold if all of a sudden you make a whole bunch of it, you print a ton of it. But the government hasn't printed money. It's printed IOUs, which are different. Money is not an IOU. It's a piece of paper representing a thing. The dollar has a value, okay, and there's a relationship between the dollar's value and gold and wheat and corn and every other commodity there is that's a real commodity. And the government's just saying, I'll guarantee you, you know, that a dollar gets you this much oil and it gets you this much corn. And the guarantee is just based on how many of the dollars exist. If they print a whole bunch of the dollars and throw them into the economy, well, yeah, then the dollar can't be the same value anymore. It has to lose its value because, you know, there's more of the dollars available. So cash money is fundamentally different than debt money in the form of bonds that say, this is just a piece of crappy paper that says I owe you some money. And yes, the government's saying they guarantee it, but obviously if they've printed a whole bunch of it, you know, trillions of dollars of those slips, they certainly can't pay it back tomorrow, could they? Right? So there's say there's a $1 billion in $1 trillion in cash. I think it's somewhere around there. That's all there is. And there's $23 trillion of debt. You can sort of understand how long it would take to get all of the cash to go through to pay off all that debt. You'd have to take the entire economy, cash moving in the entire economy, and move it through all that debt, you know, 23 times. So obviously you couldn't pay it back tomorrow. Couldn't pay it back in a day or a month or a few weeks. You could only pay back that money over decades, right? That's a hell of a lot of money to pay back. Where, you know, you have to do like, you know, you have to like earn the money somehow, right? The government has to earn the money somehow to be able to pay the debt back. You know, it's like the government has to get a job, you know. So, I mean, how many newspapers would you have to deliver to come up with $23 billion? Trillion dollars. A lot of money. Asshole. A lot of money. But yeah, so people don't get it. They don't understand how anything fucking works, especially the economy. There's nothing wrong with paper money or coinage. It's perfectly rational. It makes everything so much more efficient because we're all not carrying sheep and, you know, go to the store with a bunch of knickknacks. Well, how much will you give me for this? Well, how much will you give me for this? Yeah, that would be insanely inefficient if, you know, we all had to sit there and see, well, is this a fake, you know, porcelain fish, or is it really signed by, you know, this is a Van Gogh fish? Yeah, sure. Well, they'll all put our little eyeglass on and see if it's a fake diamonds, and no, that would be insanely inefficient. So paper money is brilliant. It's a brilliant idea. And yes, in the past, there was gimmicks where the paper money was made by Joe Blow banker guy money. And yeah, he could print as much as he wanted, and he could flood the market with his crap money, and he could just leave town and just say, ha 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 ha, fooled you. But that's not what's happening now. I'm just saying there's no printed cash. The cash isn't the problem. They're not printing cash. They're printing debt. It's a completely different thing. Bond, cash. Different things entirely. The asshole buys the bond. He's an asshole. I mean, no one's buying them now, of course. So the banks just have a fake sale, and they fake the sale of the, you know, the bank just says, okay, we'll buy it because no one else is buying it, and the government just puts that, okay, well, we'll write that in the register, and you know, no real person's buying that crap. All right. But your explanation undermines identity with competition. No, it doesn't. 2. Listening to you is also a boner killer, in other words. Yeah, fuck you. Whatever. Obviously, what would be the point of listening to somebody if they were going to, tell you something like, oh, you're so cool, and oh, man, I can't wait till we have a meetup, and oh, man, is that what you want? No, I'd rather learn, you know, learning's a pain in the ass sometimes, and what you learn is just the truth isn't going to be a great story. I'm sorry, there's no great stories to tell about the truth. The truth sucks. The truth is preposterous waste. That's the truth of existence, is waste, and waste in the form mostly of suffering. Another one. Cognitive structures used in socialization are hijacked by the religious impulse. What the fuck could that possibly mean? There's no religious impulse. There's just devotion to what mommy believed in God, so I got to. There's some kind of crap like that. There's no religious impulse. There's just a stupid is as stupid breeds. Something like that. It's really not about breeding stupidity. It's about the fact that bad habits spread. So the bad habits of the parents become the bad habits of the spawn. The ability to imagine what an absent person intends to do, what someone else thinks about us, etc. Oh, I don't know what the fuck that could possibly mean. You don't agree on the whole. How could that mean something to somebody as a fucking comment? Too stupid. Gary is the praying mantis and your arguments are his prey. Well, that's pretty much true. I am decisively brutal you know, in turning you into goo. You are addicted to your own anger. So this is the insightful asswipe. You know, it's just, what a stupid thing to say. I mean, there's no anger in my life when I'm in control of it. So when I have my private time, there's no anger. There's no, that's my favorite stuff. And the only thing that compels me to fix anything is the understanding that if I don't do it, nobody does it. It's like preventing my birth, right? I needed somebody to tell my mother, oh, you're being a dumb cunt. You really don't need to have kids. It's a stupid idea. Nobody was smart enough to say that to her. So if nobody does it, it doesn't get done, and horror happens. So that's why I do this, is because, oh, I guess I have to. I have an obligation to think about it and to make better arguments for the cause. Okay, yeah, I have to do that. Is this what I want to do? No. Do I want to sit around and look for flaws and comment on them? No. It's not what I do when I'm by myself, free from you assholes, free from thoughts or implications of what's going on planet Earth. When I'm alone with my own little brain, we don't have a problem. You're the fucking problem. You're a menace. You stupid fucks are the problem. Okay. Which is why you laugh maniacally after each delicious outburst of rage. I laugh maniacally because I'm usually thinking about your testicles in a vice. And I get to turn the wheel. And it's a little bit of, I enjoy it, frankly. I enjoy the idea of deserve. Of things getting what they deserve. You're a menace, a horror, a piece of shit, a fucktard. And it just would pleasure me to see a big wooden hammer smash you into a hexagonal hole. Sorry, man. Yeah. Fuck you, boy. Yeah. Oh, God, I just hate these. I hate people. Oh. Perv action. So he's actually starting to get it on the physics subject, which is kind of funny. Do you plan on doing an episode on strength of character and avoiding pitfalls in pursuit of integrity? An episode on how it sucks to be an adult? Like growing up is a bitch? Yeah, whatever. Stories about some ethical trade-offs you used to make. Yeah, I still do. The dilemma is that you're still stuck being a selfish ape. Okay, the selfish ape is always there, and you've got to sit there and dangle the little bananas, you know, in just the right way to get him to walk good, sensibly, you know, to wear his pants. You know, you have to do things to force him to be civilized and decent. You know, you have to manipulate with tricks. And that's all I'm doing. I'm a selfish scumbag. That's my nature. And anything nice I ever do, I don't wanna. But my intellect, you know, balanced some little bananas above me and said, well, you're going to be humiliated as an asshole. Or you're going to be, or, you know, some little, you know, it gave me some little image to sit there and provoke me to do the right thing, even though I don't want to do it. But fuck you. Whatever, it's okay. Valid enough argument. Let's see. 319. Ooh, that's an evil number. Is a must listen to. Says you. Hello from the Ukraine. Someday there will be Russian subtitles for short videos. Otherwise, I'm too lazy to learn English. Well, whatever. The whole thing is in a translatable script now. I mean, you can just download the text of the whole video and put it through a translator, and maybe it'll come out like shit, but whatever. Might not smell that bad. Same comment. Life was never a fucking gift. It's a goddamn horror story gone amok. It's insanely horrible, and that's the part that's so funny, right? So ironically funny is that it's this disgusting, just mass murder all over the place, and people are just, oh, excellent, oh, yes, oh, yeah. You know, they're applauding this fucking horror story. The greatest show on earth. People like Dawkins write a fucking book, the greatest story on earth. It's just a disgusting story. Child molestation and murder all over the place. You should be in a Thunderdome 2. Though do. You should be in Thunderdome 2. Oh, they're making it again. It was a great concept just as a thing, you know, the idea of a Thunderdome and a wheel of fuck you. That's a nice idea. You go free or get killed horribly, you know, just let a spinning wheel decide. You know, there's some sense to that. Inmendham, will you do any more live streams? No, there's just no point. There's nothing to do a live stream with. There's nobody rational enough to have a rational conversation with, and there's just nothing. There's just no point in it. I don't see the point in it. Any interaction that has to happen, I think, should happen in video exchanges. It's a much better method of getting the job done. It's more to the point, less distractions. As soon as you open a room to more than 2 people, 3 people, let's say, there's always some asshole in the room who just keeps changing the subject. So you never get anywhere because he just keeps changing the fucking subjects. So anyway, no, not likely. Who knows? Maybe I'll have some day where I feel lonely or something. I don't know. The universe is teeming with life, says Chris the asswipe douchebag dumb fuck. You got no evidence of that at all. This planet isn't teeming with life in the sense that there was only one. Okay, it's all related to the one. That's a pretty big certainty, asshole. There's no subtly different DNA molecule. There's no subtly different... No, none of that. There's one form. All of it came from the one. Alright, so even on this planet, if you apply a little bit of logic, you could say it's not exactly teeming with life if it only happened once. Alright, Euphemism may be justified, but it's futile. Says you, fuckhead. And if it's justified, that's all that matters. Oh, it may be right, but it's futile. No, it doesn't matter, it's right. Your notion that it's futile, again, another dogmatic statement from on high. The Chris says so. Fuck you. Alright, way worse than shoveling against the tide. I don't know what that means, forever. Says you. So again, it was naysayer, nitpicker, you know. So, you know, if you were growing up with, you know, and you just pick somebody from history, you just say it's futile. It's futile. It's futile. And so you would have just told all the people that did make something out of their existence in terms of getting somewhere, fighting for a cause, you'd just be a naysayer. That would be your grand contribution. And, you know, it's not worth pointing out that judge a man based on the content of his character. You know, not some attribute that's irrelevant. Not worth saying. Fuck you. Let's see, I agree with a lot of his philosophy, but his reservations and common corruption are annoying. So I don't know who that was. You know, I just don't know what video this is. Eugenics, but don't screw a math prodigy who is ugly. I don't know what that means. Fairness, but not associate based on social traits. I don't know what the hell it is. Gary spitting truth. Oh, whatever. I do spit sometimes. What does civilization need? Find the wrist and plug the hole. I don't know. Waste. Oh, and plug the hole. Yes, obviously the sewage is pouring in, and all you have to do, you know, turn the valve off and no more sewage. But some people don't have the stomach for doing reality. For example, the cats. I don't know what that means. I guess he was quoting my video, but this is an example where I don't understand to the point. Just really discovered you wanted to say thanks for this channel. Okie doke. The most noble intention is to declare holy war on existence. Well, the word noble doesn't mean much, and holy is disgusting, and so, whatever. But I understand the point, the sentiment, but the rhetoric is still coded in their useless verbiage. Alright, so I think we're done. What am I looking for? The done button. Yeah, where the fuck is the done button? Anyway, that's enough, I think. So, do better next time. Promises, promises. It's just, you know, I have a lot of challenges. You know, just getting, you know, not going crazy, you know, is a big one. And, you know, I'm just trying to, so, but whatever. Yeah, it's okay. You could harp on me for not doing better, but I'll do better, I think. Maybe when winter gets here, then I'll be stuck with the computer more, you know, so it would be better for you. Less good for me, but better for you. Alright. So, till the next time, and such.